Andiamo.
Welcome back to No Contest.
This episode, we're crossing the pond to the cradle of Western culture and civilization, the little Mediterranean boot with a massive international influence, Italy. And given that Italy basically invented style, this episode we're joined, very fittingly, by the most stylish surfer to ever touch her feet to fiberglass, Miss Stephanie Gilmore.
I've always wanted to come to Italy and surf. I feel like whenever I'm in Europe, I just want to maximize my time when I'm on this side of the planet. So we were in Portugal and Leo sent me a text and said, hey, I'm going to go to Italy and there's going to be some waves.
We're headed to meet 6 generations of Italian surfers and feel firsthand the familial Italian embrace from one of the most incredible communities of surfers that you'll ever encounter. This is No Contest Italy.
Considering the fickle and unpredictable weather systems in the Mediterranean, scoring waves in Italy is near impossible to forecast further than a week out. So we decided to base our trip out of Portugal and headed to meet the 2 best surfers to ever come from Italy. The first Roman to qualify for the World Championship Tour, Leonardo Fioravanti, and his big brother from another Italian mother, Roby D'Amico. One of his closest comrades, Roby is part of Leo's European pit crew, of friends and family from Italy, France, and Portugal, who don't miss Leo if he's competing in Europe. We rolled into Peniche a day after the MEO Pro Portugal, and just as the winds went offshore, at a fickle sandbar tucked behind some sand dunes.
Leo made sure that we understood that there were no guarantees chasing waves to Italy. But while we might get skunked, regardless of A+ surf, Rome and Sardinia would make up for it in culture and characters. And after 2 days of pits in Portugal, we were more than happy to roll the dice and hop on the next flight from Lisbon to Rome.
It's not easy, scoring waves in Italy. Hopefully it's gonna be sick, but I don't know if we're gonna get waves, so it's hard to plan it. So mix the journey up with some food and waves, and I think you have a good combo.
With its boot stuck smack in the middle of the Mediterranean, at almost 5,000 miles, Italy's coastline dwarfs other more well-known European surf destinations. For the visiting surfer looking for waves, your options are near endless. There's surf in Rome, Sardinia, Tuscany, all along the rocky points of the Tyrrhenian, north into the Ligurian, and even on the eastern coast of the Adriatic. Given the right winds and swell direction, Italy is a choose-your-own-adventure of potential waves. Our crew landed in Rome a day before the swell, giving Leo and Roby a chance to play tour guide for our Roman holiday. The capital of Italy and home to almost 3 million. It's almost impossible to exaggerate how radical Rome is.
Rome, it just leaves you, every street just leaves you just going, what the hell, how is this possible? Every time you come to Italy, you're hosted by so many people, you do so many incredible things.
You couldn't pick better tour guides than these 2 gentlemen right there.
Italians' attention to detail and their pride in craft is evident everywhere that you look. The Roman architecture is the very definition of classical.
It's so cool to have Leo and Robbie to restaurants that they'd been to before or they were, family friends.
When you come to Italy, you see that passion that everybody talks about.
You can feel it, like you walk into these shops and these restaurants and these homes and it's been so many generations of passionate, big family Italians loving what they do and what they can share with people.
And I think that's definitely an Italian thing, and that's what I've grown up with my family. If you do something, you do it right. There's no other way around it. Everywhere I go in the world, I tell everybody, I'm sorry, but Rome is the best city in the world.
Everyone knows about these buildings, but it was nice to kind of sit there and chat about, where they come from, who built them, what the story is behind them. And
Roma City, get off the town. See many people going down. Welcome to my hometown.
When you come here, it's like you're in the big family and it just seems to get bigger everywhere you go.
Distant relatives somehow, everywhere.
Friends and there's family, and then it's like the Italians are a whole nother level and they welcome you into their restaurants and their homes. They're so excited to have you here, and they're really proud of their food and their culture and their language and the passion, and everything is just, it's really wonderful.
In Rome, in Roma, you want to have an amatriciana, carbonara, a really Italian plate.
The late, great Anthony Bourdain famously said that if he was in Rome for only 48 hours, he would consider it a sin against God not to eat cacio e pepe. Dried pasta, aged pecorino romano, black pepper, and boiling water. It's a simple, perfect dish.
We want to make sure that you guys come and have the best time possible. Then you see Robbie, sometimes he stresses out because he's such a proud, passionate Italian. He wants to make sure you're having the best food, you're doing the best possible things, and you're surfing the best possible waves at the right time.
Leaving the city, we headed north to Robbie's home of La Dispoli, a classic Roman beach town on the western Mediterranean coast. Long, sandy beaches giving way to rocky coves and stretches of reef.
We're gonna go chase waves around Rome.
As the ambassador of the sea,
Yeah.
from the city of La Dispoli.
Joe! It's like lowers.
Welcome to Banzai. This is Luca, one of the main logo of the break.
It was really special to know that there's a really wide surfing community in Italy, and everyone was just really excited to see that we were here and potentially going to show up at their local surf break. I could feel the love already, and at each spot we go to, there's been some really incredible characters that we've met.
Oh, look at that, another point break. There's no one out.
Are we gonna make a fall? It's pretty dry, so it's good. I'm a big fan of old school surfboards. It's a 1984 board, and it is the third surfboard ever shaped in Italy. The world champion is gonna ride it again in my hometown. Yes.
With the forecast looking better and better, Robbie said that we had to pull the trigger. We were heading for Sardinia. From Rome, it's an hour flight south over the Mediterranean to Cagliari, capital of the island of Sardinia.
Pula.
We're on the hunt.
Pula, we're on the hunt. Pronto? Eccomi. Salve. Tutto bene? Ma che vecchietta, sei una bomba. I always come and stay here, so now we have such a good relation.
Chiamava da dietro.
Yeah. Nice to meet you. How you doing? Good? Ciao.
This is Lorenzo Castagna, a major figure in Italian surfing, and one of the coaches of the country's national team. Lorenzo lives here in Sardinia and had arranged for us to meet a handful of Italian surfing's first pioneers, like Maurizio Spinas.
Sardinia is way different than all other places. There's ways. There's ways. We shouldn't say, but there's ways.
So fun. Super fun. Here we go. We finally made it to Sardinia. Gigi come? Gigi Veris.
È original padrino di questo sport. Diciamolo.
Diciamo.
But Lorenzo, I grew up with Lorenzo. I was lucky enough to have him take me to Australia the very first time and so many more trips. And Lorenzo is one of the greats of Italian surfing, and he'll show you some pretty good backside hacks.
Some hat and throwing the hats at the
Good
back.
old layback and some. We Italians don't get waves every day. You know, I've been lucky to travel the world, but when I come back to Italy, I see the passion that everybody has, that Robbie has, that Lorenzo has. It'll be 1 foot on shore, and they'll be so psyched, and it gets me. And I think when I travel the world, I'm quite of a positive person because of this, because I grew up around this mindset of surfing 1 foot on shore, but feeling lucky to even be able to surf 1 foot and on shore.
So how did a Roman end up a prodigious international talent at such a young age, and a graduate to the championship tour and the Olympic world stage? Like Roby before him, Leo Fioravanti is a product of the Italian surf community as a whole, with the support of Maurizio, Lorenzo, and the Italian Surfing Federation, which was formed to help push Italian surfing's progression. Italy loves their athletes and takes tremendous pride in their success. I mean, the Italian police force literally sponsors sports teams, and surfing's included.
The Fiamme Oro, which is the Golden Flames, it's the sports group and the police force. It's super cool, it's super grateful to be a part of it, and you represent the Italian state.
Since blitzing onto the World Championship Tour and flying the Italian colors at the Olympics, Leo has stepped confidently into the world of proper Italian fashion. Come Milan Fashion Week each fall, Leo can be found rubbing shoulders with international designers and models at runway shows, while enjoying his role as a Gucci ambassador.
Grazie.
Grazie.
Good, like a blueberry juice or something.
Oh, life is to share. If leave alone, it's shit. But then...
Today's classic surf whatever. Whatever we found, we surf.
Liters. This is like a small wave border.
Whatever I'm gonna do today, it's gonna be big. Also if I fall.
per fare un passaggio. Let's go surf. Come with us. We're in Gigi's car. He's one of the few locals in Sardinia that's always chasing waves. He's been around forever. And this is his little camping car, which he goes surfing, which is, you know, it's so cool. He goes, him and his son, and they just go chase waves around Sardinia in this thing. Dove dietro? Sì, all'acqua, facciamo l'acqua, all'acqua. The waves are fun. They're not video fun, but they're QS fun. And as an Italian, I will appreciate this session with pleasure, and I will enjoy this moment with the crew.
Lorenzo.
This is Maurizio Spinas, one of Italian surfing's true pioneers. Born here in Sardinia, Maurizio left when he was 3 and spent the 1970s exploring up and down both Italian coasts for waves. As the president of the Italian Surfing Federation, Maurizio served as surfing's international ambassador for Italy for decades, and has watched fondly as Robbie and Leo have grown up as surfers since they were tiny kids. After a life spent traveling the world, a few years back Maurizio came home to live here in Sardinia, as he puts it so poetically, to enjoy the last season of his life.
Early 80s. Early 80s. Yes, I take my first wave in Kia, and then we travel in the West Coast, in the East Coast. We are the pioneer because when we arrived in the beach, there is no one people, no surfer. We have no boards.
Brutti ma buoni. Com'è?
Yep. Little chef.
What I loved about Maurizio is that he's just still living and breathing surf culture. And he said that the other day that he just is so happy to see out the last phase of his life at this beach in his van, with his girlfriend and it's just like that's true surf culture.
To see Steph come surf his home break, I'm sure that was something that he would have never thought that would happen in his life. We're having a surf check, chilling on the tree, which is actually really comfortable. And this little bay, which is called the Onion Bay, it's got decent waves. It's little side offshore, and I think we're gonna have some fun.
So we're gonna have a little funboard session at Onion Bay. Twin fins, mid-lengths.
A little last expression session before we go have dinner.
Ecco, la fine.
We change. You can ride mine.
Yeah.
Let's go the box and all the guys. L'Italia, l'Italia se desta nelle municipio se gira la testa.
Surfing at Onion Bay yesterday just seemed like everyone was in such a good mood. Maurizio was surfing with us. We were all trying different fun boards, and it was like a really nice little wedge that was, it looks like West Australia. The coastline and the rocks and everything is really similar to West Oz, and it just has like a, I don't know, I felt like everyone was really enjoying the moment, and it was definitely the highlight for me.
It was clean, there was not really many people out, and we had to surf, all of us, on fun boards, which I don't get to do too often, which I actually really enjoyed, to ride something different. We surfed like 3 hours, sharing waves, this perfect little wedge, laughing around, onto one of the best dinners I've ever had.
Sardinia is called the Island of the Giants for the massive stone tombs that were left here by the Nuragic population. Leo and I headed up to Su Capedu, a surfer friend named Sean's family farm-to-table restaurant and vineyard, and one of the few in the world located on an actual archaeological site, one of the so-called Giants' tombs.
People from Sardinia and from all over the world believes that it was the first people that were living in the world. So actually the first habitants of the world.
Sean's family purchased this land 15 years ago to farm for their family's restaurant, everything from herbs and lettuces to stone fruits and fava beans, and opened their doors for the very first time to host our group for a final Italian send-off.
Prendi. Una bella fava.
You see the flower? There's gonna be a melon. It's like a kilo.
Once this goes, the night starts.
We were here for the full experience of one of Sardinia's specialties, spit-roasted young pig, su porcedu.
The thing we'll eat tonight is produce from the land of him and his family. Everything we'll eat on our plate, except for some tomatoes that our friend is bringing from his own farm, which is gonna be insane.
Che dite? Bella tua me.
They're drying it first. Once it's dry, they put all the coal and everything under it to then cook it for about an hour and a half or 2 hours. So it's quite of a slow cook.
All these guys grew up surfing here, and it felt appropriate that Leo, Roby, and Steph be among the first guests, along with the rest of our new Sardinian family. 6 generations of Italian surfers at one table for a final feast. That's it for this episode of No Contest. Thanks to Leo, Robbie, and Lorenzo for giving Steph and I a taste of Italy's surf and a proper feast of its culture. We're forever grateful to the locals in Rome and Sardinia for sharing their gorgeous little corner of the surf world with us. We'll see you next episode of No Contest.